Welcome back to Wall again. And this week, again, we have another special guest, well, the same special guest again for the Pink Floyd sessions. It's Eric. How are things, Eric?
I'm all good, man. Thanks for having me again, Rob.
No bother. Have you been this week?
I've been good, man. Yeah, going back through some of the Pink Floyd back catalogue to get some inspiration for our material here, but all is good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Right, we'll jump straight into it there. So we're reviewing the Final Cut by Pink Floyd, released in 1983, 12th studio album by the band. Got to number one in seven countries, including in the UK. I got to number six in the USA. Went two times platinum in the USA, one time platinum in Australia. I went gold in the UK. Considered an art rock album, and I think Roger Waters describes the theme for this one as a requiem for a post-war dream.
Yeah,
So
it's
very much a
there's a lot of
concept album.
politics mixed in there,
Okay.
from the time of, I suppose, the Margaret Thatcher era, where
All
he's
right.
very much politically engaged and was down with that kind of the status quo of Britain around that time. So there's a lot of kind of hinting towards his father in this one.
Okay.
Um, I was reading as well. Again, that's just the cover there. On the
Very
inside of the
cool.
vinyl, but there's a full on kind of they've kind of gone back and said like this album is it's more or less like a Roger Waters solo album. It's
Yeah.
a lot of the material that didn't make the wall. I think
Yeah.
I was watching an interview with David Gilmour. He was like, if the songs aren't good enough for the wall, well, they're not still not good enough for the next album. But Roger Waters went ahead and put it together anyway. So which was the final cut. So Gilmour and Nick Mason have very little contribution on this album, I believe.
Yeah.
Um, bar one or two all right ish songs. We get to some of the songs in a minute, but I heard as well David Gilmour tried to get his name removed from the producer on this album because he just didn't think it was up to scratch. So I don't
Okay.
think it falls, atop of his list in terms of the material in there. So
For sure. A very odd album, I
yeah,
must say. So I'm just going to read some of the liner notes from the little CD booklet that I have.
yeah,
And I think this frames the album well, to be honest. So it starts off, the first liner note says here, all songs composed by Roger Waters. That's it. So
it's a
you know,
Roger Waters album.
doesn't even, that's not starting off on a good foot when you're in a band, especially a band like Pink Floyd, who at this point had released Wish You Were Here, Dark Side of the Moon, Animals, and The Wall. Like, so to come out with a statement like that tells you something. Um, so just while you're saying that, so the version I have is an actual remastered version from 2011, okay?
hmm
Obviously, we know the original release was in March 1983, but the production credits here, it says produced by Roger Waters, James Guthrie, and Michael Kamen. And then it gives the list of some of the assistant engineers. But you're right, David Gilmour's name has been removed from these
Yeah,
versions, 2011
yeah,
on. So
yeah.
that tells you something in itself. And then when you go on to the next page, then it says the final cut, a requiem for the post-war dream by Roger Waters. Then it says performed by Pink Floyd, David Gilmour, Nick Mason, Roger Waters, with Michael Kamen on piano and harmonica, Andy Bone on Hammond organ, Ray Cooper on percussion, Andy Newmark on drums on Two Sons, and Raphael Ravenscroft on tenor sax. And
Yeah.
then the National Philharmonic Orchestra conducted and arranged by Michael Kamen. No mention of Richard Wright.
Yeah, at this point he's been fired officially from the band. He's not no longer a member.
Okay.
Um, it's this is post the wall. During the wall, we'll kind of get into our video next week,
Okay.
as where he's Richard Wright actually had to leave the band. We'll get into the details of it, but this is the follow-up album which he was no longer a member of Pink Floyd, so he's not going to be mentioned in there. It's
Yeah.
also worth mentioning it's also before the wall, so this is kind of where the cracks had started to form and the kind of relationship had broken down between the three remaining members of the band, David Gilmour and Roger Waters particularly. I think it said like when they were recording the album, they were at loggerheads of what material should be on it.
Yeah.
Um, there's very little. there's very little kind of standard that they follow previous to all of their other hits, like the artwork. They stopped working with the artists. And I
Storm.
think the artwork is actually, yeah, I think they're like, these are actually World War ribbons. I think of his father or his grandfather. Um,
Yeah.
that's what, again, it's very political driven. You can kind of sense that. You can see it on the album cover.
So for anyone
Um,
who's not aware, Roger Waters' father served for Britain in the Second World War, and he was killed in action when Roger was quite young.
mm,
So this is a theme that Roger wanted to explore in great depth. He does a little bit of it in the wall, and as Eric said, we'll get into that next week. But in relation to this is the CD version I have, right? And it's kind of modeled on the vinyl. So as you say, Eric, I actually wasn't aware, but the cover there, it's some sort of infantry badges or
yeah.
stripes. So that's that. If you look on the back cover, there's a photograph of what looks like a British Army soldier in the attire from the World War II era. And then on the inside sleeve, you can see
Poppy.
there on this side, it's the poppy, which is of course synonymous with um,
The
the
Cold War.
British War
Veterans.
veterans.
Veterans,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Obviously very controversial in Ireland, the poppy, but yeah, in the UK, like they wear it at all the sporting events for that period, whatever it is, a week when they celebrate for their veterans. So yeah, very much a war album, and when you read through some of the lyrics, you can get a heavy sense of he's talking about his dad's life, his dad's passing, and things
Yeah.
like that. So
Even actually, you have to remaster version. Like I have, this is it's much more of an older vinyl. So one of the standout tracks that was released for this album is not even on this. It's the when the Tigers broke free. It
yeah,
features in the Wall movie. It was meant to be on the Wall, but it was cut.
okay,
But that song's not even on this version of the vinyl. You
that's
know,
amazing.
I got this to complete my Pink Floyd collection really. But
Yeah.
I've listened to it a few times. Again, let's get into some of the songs. Like, I mean, what kind of tracks kind of stand out for you, Rob, on the album?
Um, yeah, I'll just pull up my notes here, Eric. Um, so for me, let me see here now.
I've put down for myself again when the Tigers broke free, but again I don't have it on this version. I know it is on the remastered. The Fletcher Memorial Home. You know, it's a wall-ish sound. You know, it's okay, but the best song I think is Not Now, John. I think it was like a single off of it. It's the most kind of Pink Floyd sounding. It's very like Young Lust, that type of guitar riff. It almost sounds very like the same song.
Yeah.
But the rest of the album really doesn't do a whole lot for me.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Eric. I've listened to this album probably 3 times in the last week,
Yeah,
and it really hasn't grabbed me. Your Possible Past song number two on the CD anyway.
yeah.
It's okay. It's got a great Dave Gilmour solo, but apart from that, it's just Roger Waters. You know, it's his ship, and
Yeah.
I'm not on the ship.
Don't think anybody was on the ship.
Yeah. I think he's on his
Yeah,
own on the ship, maybe with
yeah,
Michael Kamen, but no, didn't do it for me at all.
yeah,
Won't be revisiting this album anytime soon. Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, look, I'll be honest with you, like I have marks against some of the songs here, but there's very few songs even get 4 out of 10 for me. You
Mhm.
know, it's pretty dire. Um, so overall, what would you give this album as a rating?
Just because the Pink Floyd name is against it, I gave it a 2 out of 10, and that's being generous. Not Now,
Oh,
John is the song that saved it for me, but
okay.
it's right at the bottom of my Pink Floyd albums. I don't ever really listen to it, to be honest.
2 out of 10. Sorry, that's amazing because the last few weeks you've been rating them highly, and I've been
Yeah.
usually about 2 marks below you. So you've rated this as 2 out of 10. I'm actually giving this a 3 out of 10. And
Yeah.
why am I giving it such a high mark?
You're too
Um,
generous.
yeah, I think the fact that it's in terms of a concept, I understand what he's trying to do.
Hmm.
Um, The production is excellent in my opinion. I think it's very well produced. The songs are the songs sound really good. The instrumentation sounds really good, but the songs just aren't there. I
Yeah,
think Michael Kamen does some great work on the album, to be honest, and Roger Waters he does a good job on the album, but the songs aren't there. So 3 out of 10. Yeah, look, I think there's worse albums I've listened to, but
yeah,
probably one of Pink Floyd's worst, to be honest. Yeah.
yeah. I thought I'd also mention there's a DVD out there that you can get. It's called In the Flesh. Like it's a Roger Waters DVD now. It's not actually like a Pink Floyd, but there's some songs from the Final Cut on here. So if you are a fan of the Final Cut, again, this is just my opinion, but you might like this as well because there are some songs thrown on there as well, so you can catch some of those songs live. It's
Cool.
worth checking out.
Good. It's a good shout. So yeah, guys, let us know in the comments if you think this is a good album, or if you don't think it's a good album. Maybe you'd give it a 1 out of 10 or a 0. But let us know in the comments what you think of this album, The Final Cut by Pink Floyd. Doesn't really do it for me and Eric. But yeah, look, I think this is the first turkey we've had, is it?
That's it. You can't win them all, Rob. You can't win
Yeah.
them all.
Yeah, we've been going back in reverse chronological order, and this is the first turkey. So we'll see. I'm sure the next few episodes are going to be very interesting because we're coming into Pink Floyd at their peak, at their A
Yeah,
game
yeah.
in the 70s. So that's going to be interesting. So look, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. I'll leave links to some other videos that you can watch if you're interested in the Pink Floyd back catalogue and you want to catch some more videos or more videos on my channel. And we'll talk to you on the next one. So bye for now.
Cheers. Bye, guys.